Alright, so it's kind of a cool day, but I wanted to get this done. The wind is kind of strong right now, so I got the camera set up in my garage. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. Um, yeah, the wind chill right now is only makes it feel like it's only like 18 degrees. So it's not super comfortable out here, but I want to get this done so I can go riding. So the first thing we need to do is we got to flip our bike upside down. Before I do that, I'm going to take off this light and just let it hang loose. Alright. Whoa. Okay. Alright, so I just moved up closer to give you guys a better view. Fortunately, this bike has a quick release, so I don't need to get out any tools. I don't need to get out a 15 millimeter to, remove this. I'm going to loosen that up just a little bit. So that wheel should pop right off. Now I'm going to disconnect my brake cable here. And bam! There is our tire. There is our wheel. Okay, so what I got to do now, I got to take off the tire. And you know what? I'm going to move the bike again so that you guys can get a good view of everything that's happening. So I need to get my tire lever. Alright, so I've got my tire lever here. So what I'm going to do now, I got to pull the tire off, which actually, I might not need a tire lever. I'll use the tire lever. It'll be easier. For a second I thought I could do it without it, but sometimes you can. Alright, so there was still a little bit of air in here, which would have made things a little easier. But, okay, so I'm not sure where I got this flat from. I could have got this flat from anywhere. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I may have rode near some broken glass a few days ago. Like the last time that this tire was not flat. So hopefully it's just a puncture in the tube and that there's nothing that's actually in here. But I'm going to inspect my tire first before I do anything else. Just to make sure that there's nothing stuck in here. I've had thorns get stuck in the tire and they stay in. And so, if you got something stuck in your tire and you don't get it out, you go and patch your tube and it won't do you any good because it'll just get punctured again. Now, I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, and this is this a new tire? One of these tires on the Nishiki is actually brand new. I think it's this one. Alright, so the outside of the tire looks good. So I don't think that there's anything stuck in it. But to make sure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub my fingers through the inside of the tire. And I'm just going to feel to make sure that there's nothing, that I don't find anything sticking through. I'm not feeling anything. Feels nice and smooth. But I'm going to go and do it the opposite direction now, just to make sure that I do feel everything and that there's nothing in there. Yep, I'm not feeling anything. So it must have been something that just punctured the tire, hit the tube, and then came right back out. So I know that this is not holding air. I know that the air leaks out usually in a pretty fair amount of time, which makes me think that the leak in here is probably fairly significant, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find the hole. But in order to do that, I'm going to need to connect my pump and fill this up full of air, and then I'm going to have to feel my hand around to try and find a hole. And if I can't find one, what I'll do is I'll probably pump this up full of air and then stick it in like a bowl of water or something and look for bubbles. It may be hard to find where the air is at based on just that it's windy right now. So hopefully this won't be too hard. I'm going to grab the pump and I'll get started with this. Alright, so I've got my pump and I'm going to attach it to my tube right here. Alright, so I've got my pump connected to the tube. So I'm going to go ahead and pump this up full of air. Well, not totally full of air, but I'm going to put a little air in. Actually, probably the more the better, really. Alright, so I've got this pretty big, so it should be pretty easy to find wherever this is punctured at. I hear the air coming out. Oop. There we go. I don't know if you can see it, but that's it right there. Right there. Yeah. So, okay, that's a little tiny one. Should be pretty easy to patch that. I'm just going to grab my patch kit. Alright, now normally I'd be using a patch kit from Park Tool. However, I was totally out of patches. I'd used mine up. So it was time for me to get a new one. And the day that I went to go buy the stuff to do this, the bike shop was closed. So I went to a hardware store and I bought this one. I've used this same patch kit in the past. It's not bad. It's pretty similar to the one from Park Tool that most people use. Just the main difference is that, this is actually made by Bell, even though it doesn't say Bell. Well, on the back it says Bell. So, but yeah, like I've said, I've used this patch kit before, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally fine. Alright, so let's find that hole again. Where is that hole? Alright, so one thing that some people do to keep track of where their hole is they'll use chalk to mark on the tire where it is so that they don't lose sight of it. I would love to do that, but I'm out of chalk. I don't have any. So I'm just going to have to really keep a close eye on this so I know exactly where it is. Alright, so inside your patch kit, you're going to find there's a couple different size patches. Usually on the Park Tool ones, they're actually not like squares and rectangles, but they usually have curved edges. They're like circles, and there might be a rectangular one. So anyway, so you have your patches. You have a little metal buffer thing. It's just kind of roughing it up. I think the Park Tool ones usually have sandpaper in there, but the metal or whatever works. And then rubber cement. So what we want to do is we got to rough up the surface on our tube that we need where we need to patch it. So where is that little hole at on here? It's right here. So I'm just gonna roughen up the surface just a little bit where it is. So you guys can see how I'm doing that. Just want to rub it away a little bit. It makes the patch stick better if you do that. And you don't have to do it a whole lot, just a little bit's all you really need. So I got that buffed pretty well. Alright, so this area right here looks a little bit different. That's because I buffed it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I'm going to use this patch because this patch here is the smallest size one. Well, it's one of the 3 smallest. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my rubber cement, and I need to stick a little needle or something in there to pop that open. What do I have out here I can use? I think I've got some Allens. Yeah, so I've got an old set of Allens here that I don't really use these ones anymore besides for teaching class. I have another set I carry on my bike. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there to puncture that rubber cement. I'm going to put a little bit of cement right here where that puncture is. Just a little bit, just like that. And I'll reseal the tube here. And I'm going to take a patch. So with these ones, there's a side right there that you peel off, a little piece of plastic, and then this this blue side comes off as well. That's a little bit harder to do. My hands are also a little numb because it is bitter out here right now. Alright, so that's off. So rubber cement, push this on down, and I'm going to hold that for probably about, I don't know, 30 seconds, something like that. Alright, that actually feels pretty sticky, like it's going to stay right there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pick up my trash and put it all together. So my patch kit, I'll collect all these pieces and I'll put them in my tool kit back where I want to have them. I'm just going to let this dry for a few more minutes. Alright, so I think the patch is on pretty good. So I'm going to let some of the air out of the tube. So when the tube is really full of air, it makes it hard to get it back into the tire. So I'm going to take my tire, set it on the ground. I'm going to pop my tube in, just really anywhere just to get it started. I'm just going to go around and feed it right into the tire. So I got my tube in a little twisted. I got too much air in. So I'm going to let out a little bit more air. And now the tube looks like it's in the tire pretty good. Alright. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my rim. I'm going to inspect the rim strip because I didn't do that before. And there's a little bit of wear in this rim strip, but it's nothing horrible. It will need to be replaced probably sometime this year. A cheap trick you can do if you do have a rim strip that's in bad shape, instead of going to the store and buying one, even though they're really cheap, but if you don't want to buy one, you can just use electrical tape. Just put a strip just all the way around, and then just leave it open for the hole for the valve stem. But yeah, so this one's in okay condition. I don't see anything really majorly wrong with it. So I'm just going to get everything lined up so I can put the valve stem back through the hole on the rim. Once I get that in there, I'm going to pull it through. It's really hard to do when your hands are numb like this. It is not a warm day today. Alright, just going around the tire, getting that into the rim. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. So, I need to inflate this bad boy 40 to 65. So I'll go ahead and connect it to my pump. I'm going to fill it back up full of air. Whew. Okay. Alright, so our tire's reinflated. I'm going to put the valve stem cap on there. So these little caps don't actually do anything. All they do is keep your valve stem clean. So if you don't have one, it's no big deal. Doesn't matter at all. Lots of people think that that's what holds the air in, but nope, that doesn't just do anything, just keeps it clean. So what I'm looking at right now on the tire is the drive direction. Usually they'll put an arrow on the tire showing you which way is forward so that you don't mount your tire backwards. And this one, I'm not actually seeing an arrow. Not every tire has them, but a lot of them do. And yeah, I'm not seeing it on here. But judging by the look of the tread, I think this is back and this is forward. So I want to put it with my quick release side on the right side of the bike and this side on the left. I believe is how I want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the bike back over here and we'll put our tire back in place. Okay, so I got the bike back over here. I've got my wheel set up. And yeah, I want to have it, put it in place just like this. Almost there. I just got to get the get it on the fork. That's good. So I'm going to tighten up my quick release. So with my quick releases, I try and keep the quick release lever like pretty much as lined up with the frame of the bike as I possibly can. Whether that means you know, the fork or the seat stay or whatever. I try and keep it lined up with the frame as much as possible so that if something were to get snagged, it wouldn't get snagged on this, it would get snagged on the frame, or it would brush past. So that way you don't have to risk something opening up your quick release, which doesn't really, to me that's unheard of, you know, to begin with, but if you can do something to prevent it from happening, then you might as well do it. So I'm just going to close my cantilever brake cable, get that all back the way it should be. Tire looks good. I think we're ready to ride again. So I'm going to flip the bike upright and I'll reattach my light. Bam, there we go. Alright, so we are all done changing the tire and patching the tube up. This bike is ready to roll again. So hope you guys have found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions about changing a tire or patching a tube or anything related to bikes at all, leave a comment and let me know, and I'll get back to you with as much knowledge as I have. As always, subscribe for more bike fun, and I will see you guys next time.